With Metal Gear Solid Delta stealthily approaching our way in August, there's a lot to expect, and from all the trailers we've seen so far, the game looks really well done, and at the end of the MGS Delta trailer as of recent, has shown some interesting information regarding to Metal Gear Online. Before the world became obsessed with MGO2, arguably one of the best third-person PvP multiplayer stealth action games I think we've ever seen. But the original MGO multiplayer experience all began on PS2, and what it brought was something absolutely astonishing for its time that made multiplayer super fun to play.
Alright, I'm gonna make him think I killed you. I got away from you somehow. Shit, I got away! Bobby! Damn it, Bobby!
We then went to MGO3 with the likes of Phantom Pain's forward operating bases, where you could build your own military nation and take over other bases.
Successfully sneak your way into the heart of the rival PF's FOB. You can capture staff from them. I'll be looking forward to meeting the new recruits, boss.
And it still retained all that multiplayer magic from its predecessor beforehand, but some will argue which did it better. But before all that, there was a much earlier Battlefield, one that many fans will barely remember, and even fewer have even played. Metal Gear Online, the original, was first introduced with Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, released in December of 2005, a year after the original, and in March 2006 in North America for the PlayStation 2. This wasn't really just repackaged as MGS3, Subsistence was a 2-disc release, and the second disc labelled Disc 2 Persistence is where the magic really happened. It featured the very first iteration of the online PvP stealth warfare set on the Metal Gear universe on the PlayStation 2, back in the day when you wasn't really using wireless internet connection and you had to use the Ethernet cable to connect up to the multiplayer goodness. We had multiple P vs P modes, which were guaranteed to see make a return in Delta once again, such as the deathmatch, where it's an all-out slugfest, a team deathmatch where you have to join up with your comrades on either side, or a capture mission where you usually have to capture the objective and bring it back to base in the allotted time and score points. And the iconic sneaking mission where one player takes the role of Snake whilst the others try to stop him. Matches supported up to 8 players and included features that were ahead of their time, like the voice chat, customizable loadouts, and even ladder rankings. It's unclear whether there'll be more players to be able to play in the maps themselves, and if they're actually going to reintroduce the maps that we are familiar with MGO1. Altogether there was a solid bundle of 14 maps, with all great layouts and memorable designs. I'm quite certain all of these will return in a full Unreal Engine 5 rendition, maybe even with a few new maps included. Who knows? There was a few noticeable names to name, such as the Lost Forest, a map from the original Metal Gear Online included in the Subsistence version, which had like a maze-like stretch of dense woodland. And then there was the City Under Siege, which had a big office building in the east and a warehouse to the west. And it's also worth mentioning that this map was later ported to MGO2 on the PS3 under the name Urban Ultimatum, just with a slight different tweak and a different name. And we've also had the Granin Gorky Lab and of course the infamous Brown Town, which was also ported to MGO2 as Coppertown Conflict, and plenty of others you probably remember, well packed with unforgettable moments. This was the first true online mode for Metal Gear Solid 3 and the series in itself. Players joined one of the 3 units, KGB, the Ocelot unit or the GRU. On some servers, the highest scoring players were granted the chance to play as their squad leaders. If you were topping the Ocelot unit, you'd become Major Ocelot. And if you led the GRU unit, you'd become Major Rykov. And if you were scraping the bottom in the KGB, well, you got to play as Sokolov. Naked Snake was also a playable character, and there was some wild crossovers like Riko Hinomoto or known as Rowdy Rico from Rumble Roses, sort of like a Street Fighter game. But in reality it's based off New Japan style wrestling, because wrestling is huge over in Japan, and as you can tell it takes a lot of elements that are very similar to THQ's WWE, which was a great game. Creating your own characters, season modes, the epic menu music, man, what a time. But this cool wrestling chick was ported over to Metal Gear 3 Subsistence especially, so it'll be interesting to see if her character model will return in Delta, but there's most likely going to be some licensing issues unless Konami can strike a deal. She really had a cool special move like a lot of the MGO characters. She even gave the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle a run for his money. Instead of a German suplex, she'd used the fashionable Sunrise suplex.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
It was the only MGS game as well that gave players access to a flamethrower in multiplayer. That's right, straight fire. But sadly the servers didn't last forever. In Japan the servers shut down on December 26, 2006, and North America followed on April 2nd, 2007, and Europe closed last on October 30th, 2007. If you're looking to relive that era, you most likely still can. Thanks to dedicated fans, the game was revived through private servers and emulation under the Save MGO project. These legends brought it back to life on PC, so the battlefield is open again for those who know where to look. Although truth be told, MGO 1 has seen better days and there isn't really many players even on emulation. I tried to personally play this game myself on the emulation, but there really isn't many players playing. So I had to use footage from a guy called Proposition 1321. Shout out to this guy and his friends who had some fun playing this game about 2 years ago, back when they had a few players to play with. And for you console users, you do have Delta, a refined version likely featuring this multiplayer in its most complete and enhanced form. And let's be real, PC might be more flexible, but it's also a breeding ground for cheaters, and on console the playing field's a little more tighter. What will make Delta really shine is its new playstyle modes. From early trailers, Konami confirmed both a legacy style, keeping the original PS2 control and feel, and a modern style with updated movement and a crosshair system closer to MGS5. Odds are we'll get the option to choose our preferred PvP control scheme. We're guaranteed to be able to stick with the golden days of the old mechanics of the controls, or try the newer, smoother style of new style that MGO veterans will sure be able to get used to. And speaking of new, there's actually a sneak peek at a hide and seek game mode. You probably caught it in the trailer. A player finds a Coppertown frog, then blends into the environment, almost like a living prop. It gave serious prop and hunt vibes, like in Call of Duty where players disguise as barrels or signs whilst others hunt them down. Where you can move, jump and use decoys, it's pure chaos. It's definitely more than certain we're probably going to see some new additions in terms of game modes. In Delta as well, we literally see a player in the trailer who turns into the environment. He literally turns into stones whilst the player is looking for him. All I can say is the possibilities are wild, and I'm digging this hide and seek feature. Delta is definitely shaping up to be peak Metal Gear. Konami's clearly spent time polishing it. Just look at the latest trailers and the attention to detail from past trailers, and you can see how they've kind of added more details to improve it. From the combat mechanics to the character models to the tone, they're honouring this masterpiece the way that it deserves. In the story trailer, I'd definitely say that they'd nailed it. And the return of MGO? That was just the icing on the cake that I think nobody expected. But with all that being said, I've got some ideas cooking around MGO, and I'm thinking about setting up a dedicated Discord server so we can all squad up in our spare time, relive the chaos, record some epic battlefield moments that I can showcase on YouTube, and maybe even set up a tournament against other MGS content creators to make things interesting. So keep your eyes peeled for that if anything comes of it. Anyway guys, I appreciate you all for tuning in, and thank you so much for your time and support. And until we meet again.